by empowering and forming connections with women in male-dominated fields, 5 Things is fostering a space for growth. Their upcoming Women in Sports collaboration with Illini Athletics is this Thursday. 5 Things is sponsoring this segment, and joining me now are Deanna and Stephanie. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, for having us.
Yes, thank you. We're excited to be here.
Well, good, because I have lots of questions, starting with, what is 5 Things?
Oh, it's the premier women's event that doesn't feel like a staged networking opportunity, I think.
Yeah, and it's bringing women together to come and share things they do within their businesses, bring 5 things they want to talk about, but also building connections, building relationships, and also just getting to know about the great things women in our community are doing that you might not normally realize with not going to a show like this.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I feel like that's a really important thing to be doing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So both of you come from different businesses. So Stephanie, let's start with you. I want to know, why did you decide to sponsor?
Yeah, so I'm with Heartland Coca-Cola, and we've been sponsoring a little over 4 years now. And, you know, with 5 Things in Heartland, we have a lot of things that are similar with our mission statement. And some of that is building up team members, you know, building up women, how do we make connections, networking, but also living and giving back in the community that we live and work in. And that's a big deal, and that's something 5 Things brings. They have a platform here that women can get together and spend time together, share stories, and also make connections that might help you with your business, but also personally, professionally, and quite frankly, have a little bit of fun too. So.
And I feel like that's super important, is you have to pepper in that little bit of fun, especially when it comes to business stuff, to kind of keep it engaging. And then what about you, Deanna?
So it's very similar to Stephanie and Heartland Coca-Cola, but for Busey Bank, you know, we've been in the community for many, many years at this point, and just really value connection and community give back. So for us, we've had speakers be featured in some of the 5 women that have been in prior events, but have also sponsored in various capacities over the year. So when this opportunity came, especially with Illinois, with athletics, with the community as a whole, and Brooke and Carrie, how can you say no, of course?
Right.
Have just put together a phenomenal, long-standing, I mean, this predates COVID, which I give anyone credit to continue an event like this after we really didn't know what that looked like for a lot of things. So it's a testament to the audience they had created those years before COVID, but then we're so eager to say, we want to get back, we want to be together.
Make those connections.
And be in State Farm Center of all places. So a new venue for the event, the biggest venue certainly that we've had. So no cap on ticket sales, which is exciting. So no one should be turned away.
And that is really exciting, that it has grown even in the world that we live in now, where things sometimes look a little bit different and events sometimes look a little bit different, that it's grown to a point that now anyone and everyone is able to come.
Yes.
So if somebody does decide to come, you sort of briefly mentioned speakers. I think we have a flyer that we can show that shows you who the speakers are, if you want to touch a little bit on sort of what the speakers are going to be talking about.
Yeah, I think we're going to see them talking about building your brand. How do you build a winning culture? How do you build a winning team? And those are some big topics I think a lot of us can take with us, you know, personally and professionally, on what we're doing within our business.
And really too, you know, in addition to that powerhouse group, how to be resilient, how to bounce back in the face of some adversity, right? And then of course, Coach Green is our signature closing speaker about 5 ways to be elite. So whether that's personally, professionally, on and off the court, in her example, of course. So we got to sit through the planning meeting, so we've seen a sneak peek a couple of weeks ago. So I'm sure they've only fine-tuned and refined since then, but there was no short of like laughter, smiles, a little, you know, teary-eyed moments, so that it's really fascinating what these women have done and created themselves, whether personally or professionally. And I think it's just exciting to be able to share another side of them that we don't always get to see when we see them as coaches, typically, or administration and athletic staff, of course. So I think that's the best part of 5 Things. You get to see the whole person.
Yeah.
bringing, I think, 5 women leaders, but also coaches. And like you said, they're just a powerhouse, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. And, you know, now is a great time, too, in women's sports and all the things with that, and them getting to share sort of their vision, what they're doing. And it's just going to be a fun time for people to come out and connect and have some fun.
And you mentioned that it's a come as you are event, which I love, but I'm also very passionate about business. And on ciLiving, we do a thing called Jaclyn Does My Job, where I go try other jobs, but then really sit down and find out things about careers. So as 2 women in business, could you just each quickly give me like the best piece of advice you've ever gotten from like a mentor? And we'll do it sort of like as a little preview. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
You know, I think for me, it's just how do you give back and how far your shadow cast, and understanding that, and being a good listener. I think those are some of the things I've gotten, and also having fun. Sometimes we get a little too serious, and how can we just, you know, have fun? We got to enjoy what we do, and also be able to give back. I think those are some big keys that I've learned throughout 5 things, but also some of the women speakers we've had. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that's really great. And what about you?
I would say too, I think very similarly, I think you have to be a great partner, right? I mean, you never know when paths will cross and what that looks like. And I think always leaving things better than when you found it is a really great way to be thought of in the community, whether as a resource, an advocate, a connection, whatever the case may be. But and I think always trying to find there's balance to that.
Yes.
We all know. We all sometimes are of that mindset that we're like, we can do everything.
Right.
But I think someone very wise in my life has told me, she was like, you can have everything. And sometimes they don't always fall together at the exact right time.
Sure.
But things always do seem to find a way to work out that way. So sometimes you've got to be a little patient, which isn't always my strong suit, but
wonderful.
we're working on it.
Well, I was going to say, and it's one of those things that you have to practice what you preach, so you eventually will get there. And I think putting it back out there really will help you concentrate on it this week.
That's right.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for being here and for sponsoring today's segment. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, we're super excited.